to reclaim the power and sovereignty of the people of Kenya that vests to reclaim the power and sovereignty of the people of Kenya that vests with them. To reclaim the power and sovereignty of the people of Kenya that to reclaim the power and sovereignty of the people of Kenya that vests with them. To reclaim the power and sovereignty of the people of Kenya that vests with them. To reclaim the power and sovereignty of the people of Kenya that vests with them.
I'm waiting for the lawyers. tell you.
The magistrate court is going to undermine the High Court.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they'll give an excuse.
They try new limits. Yeah. And you see, by the time they were making that charge sheet, that it to come 6th in court, orders are already existing from 5th.
5th, yes.
Yeah, which
Not from 5th.
You know, ever since walilipua ile meli, nakumbuka ile kesi yangu ya meli, nothing has ever gone right. They do everything they want.
After you obtain the order? After you
The
obtain
other
the
day
order?
I'm calling the IG, I'm telling him, look here, I'm locked up in the court.
You let us know when you're ready.
Are we ready, guys? Okay. Weka mic yako haraka. Okay. Madam, wacha tusukume. Tuko tayari?
Now, despite the desperate times we are going through right now, we're happy to report that Miguna Miguna is alive. As we speak right now, he is before the Chief Magistrate in Kajiado, where the police who have been holding him from Friday had taken him in order that they could force him to take a plea, notwithstanding a clear and express order by the High Court that he should not be charged and that he should remain released on account of the cash bail of 50,000 that we paid on Friday. Now, we've been able to assemble a team of lawyers in Kajiado who have presented to the magistrate the orders that were made by this court on Friday, yesterday and this morning. And the magistrate has now retreated to consider those orders because the orders are quite clear that Miguna Miguna is to be brought before the High Court here in Nairobi, personally by the IG and the Director of Criminal Investigations. Now, the High Court has said that it will retreat until 3 p.m. and make a final decision on how best to deal with the content on the part of the IG and the DCI. But one thing that we continue insisting, we want Miguna to be brought before this court because his release alone will not be satisfactory. There has been a clear and blatant breach and disobedience of the court order. Miguna has remained incommunicado for a period of 4 days. The Constitution only allows the police to hold somebody for maximum of 24 hours. So as we speak right now, whatever charges that they may be profiling against Miguna Miguna are unconstitutional and are unlawful. But let's wait until 3 when the court will make a final determination on how to progress this matter.
Maybe, is he likely to be brought here today?
It is our expectation that he will be brought here before 3. In the event that that do not happen, then we believe the court will make an appropriate order at 3. But what is most satisfying and what Kenyans need to know is that we have established for a fact that he is alive.
May I can just add that there is something which is really worrying in that the court made an order yesterday in very clear terms that the Inspector General should appear here, the Director of Criminal Investigation should appear here, and that order was not complied with. Sending a representative here who is working either under the Inspector General or the Director is not good enough. It means that there are some people out there who can choose how they comply with court orders. Their appearance here was necessary to show that we are all under the law once the court has made an order. And therefore, I hope that the court will stand firm and insist that those orders should be complied with. The Inspector General himself should come and explain why he held a citizen, an innocent citizen, for more than 24 hours incommunicado. And secondly, the order that Miguna should be produced here, that also has not been complied with. And this state of affairs is almost worse than what we experienced in the Moi years. And Dr. John Hamino is here, who was practicing at that time. Therefore, I would call upon the citizenry to stand vigilant in protection of the Constitution, and that no craft by the executive can undermine the authority of the courts. The courts must make sure that the authority is not undermined. And once an officer of government chooses not to come and send a junior officer on his behalf, that is undermining the authority of the court. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What has happened to Mr. Miguna Miguna is despicable. It reminds one of the old days when politician suspects used to be taken from their homes or their offices at very odd hours. As a counsel, you go to find out where they've been taken to. You are unable to trace. You cannot tell the members of the family their whereabouts at all. The gains we had made under the 2010 Constitution are now being watered down. We have to speak with one voice and speak very loudly that we must not go back to the old days at all. Let us be transparent. Let us do things in a clear daylight so that the relatives, the lawyers know the whereabouts of the suspects. Miguna was picked up. Lawyers have had to travel to Kibunguri. Lawyers have had to travel to other odd police stations. I personally, with Mr. Harvey and Mr. Osundwa, had to go to Larry to trace Mr. Miguna. Up to now, Mr. Miguna did not have access to lawyers at all. He did not have access to his parents at all. And this morning or this afternoon, I addressed the judge and told the judge that the only way of making sure that human rights, fundamental rights, are respected, the way it is being done in England and European Union, is for the courts to decline to hear the case that is brought before, that is now pending before the Magistrates Court. That will make the police, that will make the authorities to begin to respect fundamental rights. And that will also protect our politicians when they are being suspected of having committed certain offenses, so that they can be able to enjoy the human rights that are provided for in our Constitution. At the moment, I am sorry to say that if we are not very careful, we are going back to the old days. What I have witnessed in this case is that the old days are no longer old, they seem to be now coming back. Those who are responsible for impunity seem to be gaining space under the present system. Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe if I can just ask, do you think there is friction between the judiciary and the executive? What's the relationship like?
There's absolutely no friction at all. The judges we have are able judges. They are learned in law. They are very experienced. They make orders. Those orders are not being obeyed by anybody at all. It is for us, as citizens of this country, it is for us as lawyers to speak loudly and say that we shall not have this again at all.
Thank you.
Very well, those are the legal minds here led by Senior Counsel John Haminwa, Senior Counsel James Agre Orengo, Mutula Kilonzo Jr., Nelson Havi Harundubi, amongst the other legal minds that are here, as well as LSK members who are here in solidarity with one of their own who is also an advocate of the High Court that is Dr. Miguna Miguna, just briefing us on the latest that yes, indeed, Miguna Miguna is alive, although it is still hazy, his state of health. And there are quite a number of orders that were issued by this court, which is a high court, which now have to be considered by a lower court, which is a magistrate's court in Kajiado. But the lawyers making it clear that this court has a supervisory role over the lower court in Kajiado. Therefore, any orders issued here are superior to the other orders. It is expected, according to the lawyers, that Miguna Miguna will be arraigned here at least today by 3 p.m. And then perhaps Justice Kimaru can make a ruling about the specific issue of contempt of court by the Inspector General of Police and the Director of Criminal Investigations. Earlier, Harun Dubi had made a plea to the court to detain the representatives who are described by State Counsel as messengers by the DCI and the IG, because the IG supposedly had a scheduled security meeting and could not find time for court. Well, it remains to be seen if Miguna Miguna will be here today in this court and what ruling will be spelled out by Justice Kimaru at 3 p.m. Until then, keep it here as we bring you up to speed on the events from the Milimani law courts as they unfold.
To reclaim